Vampyr takes place in a plague-ridden London in the year 1918 and strives to deliver a fresh new take on an action RPG experience. With branching dialogue trees, a decently deep combat system, weapon and item crafting, and character leveling up, Vampyr provides all the elements you look for in an action RPG. It's the quest givers and the citizen system that really makes Vampyr its own experience. Where Vampyr begins to set itself apart is in its beautiful recreation of London during the First World War, while suffering through the plague-like struggle that is the Spanish flu epidemic. It's a dark, gloomy city that is opened up to you via the tight, corridor-like alleyways and the sprawling depths of the sewer system. The juxtaposition of the clean and neat etiquette of the early 1900s mixed in with the dirty, dark underbelly of the city is truly a wonderful setting and perfectly proper for the game's story. On top of the aesthetically pleasing recreation of London at the time, the game's soundtrack hits the nail right on the head with an assortment of string-heavy scores that fit the setting and mood flawlessly, and the experience truly wouldn't be the same without it. You are Jonathan Reid, a renowned surgeon and a man truly dedicated to the sciences. The game begins with a crossroads in the life of Jonathan, waking up in the dark, dirty city streets only to find he has an eternal thirst for the scarlet nectar. Now being a doctor turned vampire, Dr. Reid begins the game by grappling with his new vampiric condition and trying to find the middle ground between helping the city of London survive and helping himself survive. And this eventually leads to the main story mission of Dr. Reid trying to find out who and why they turned him into a vampire. Tied into all of this is a really interesting storyline with Dr. Reid's family that, due to spoilers, I will go no further in detail. Dr. Reid slowly begins to accept the facts around what has happened to him, as well as many others throughout the city of London as he starts to make acquaintances in all facets of life. Finding refuge at the Pembroke Hospital, this becomes sort of a home base for Dr. Reid. There are numerous hideouts spread throughout the city where you can evolve, craft, refill items, and rest. However, you will mostly be utilizing the hospital as many of the quest givers and the persons of interest will have you constantly returning. The medical staff at Pembroke, as well as some of the other citizens scattered around the city, will make up most of your quest givers. However, halfway through the game, Dr. Reid is accepted into the Ascalon Club and will begin taking quests from them, who are basically an organized group of London's vampires with higher-ups. This is where the game gets interesting. It's the citizen system that binds all of these characters together that is without a doubt one of the biggest highlights of the game. As you get to know these characters, you get to know more about their backstory and you can branch out into more dialogue options as you go. You can inquire more about their life, or you can simply talk to other people in their social group and ask about them and get information from others. As you complete tasks for these quest givers, provide them with professional medical attention, or simply give them a set of ears to talk to, you begin to increase their quality of blood. Meaning, the more you help these citizens, the more experience they will give you if you decide to turn them into a juice box. That's right, you can choose to bite, drink, and permanently kill almost anyone in the game, benefiting greatly from the amount of XP and their rich quality of blood, but all at the risk of losing this NPC forever, along with any quests, items, or information they might have shared with you down the road. This means that in any point of the game, if you are under level or simply not strong enough for the task at hand, you can get a huge level up and fast, simply by drinking the blood of your quest givers. Straddling this line between Dr. Reid's desire to abstain from fresh blood and turning Dr. Reid into an increasingly powerful vampire is tough, and it's the moral decisions that you either make or don't make in these instances that truly create a unique experience for every player. Combat in the game, for the most part, is not anything new. It's an action RPG with melee and ranged weapons at your disposal. The base of combat consists of an enemy lock-on system with which you can target select, and from there you can hack and slash at your enemy with a regular or stun attack, while implementing strategic dodges when necessary. However, one way combat does differ in Vampyr is through the use of the defense bar below an enemy's health bar. Below every enemy's health bar is a white segmented bar, and these segments indicate the amount of times the enemy will need to be stunned before they are susceptible to being bitten and drained for your blood meter. This blood meter being the fuel for all your vampiric skills. And that is where the real joy in combat comes from, your vampiric skill tree and the management of your health, blood, and stamina bars. Vampiric skills can vary from damage-dealing ranged attacks to disappearing into the shadows until your next attack, or simply by biting yourself mid-combat for a quick heal. But no matter which skills you choose to develop, all but your ultimate skill will consume blood from your blood meter both in and outside of combat, creating the need to get a bite in on your enemies any chance you get. Your vampiric skills can deal two types of damage, and those are blood damage and shadow damage. Enemies can have certain weaknesses to either of these attack types and require a certain approach if you intend to deal with them swiftly. Vampiric ultimate skills are self-explanatory. They are ultimately awesome, useful, and extremely satisfying to unleash, and all of these ultimate skills require a long cooldown time, however do not cost any blood to execute, meaning you can execute when you have absolutely no blood in your meter. The enemies in the game seem to evolve well alongside you. New enemy archetypes are revealed to you as you progress through the story, and with them come new movesets, new damage types, and new weapons. Boss fights in the game are actually rather enjoyable. They're not 20-minute long fights in which you struggle through, but they're not beaten in a pinch either. Most of my boss fights have required several attempts, and they all lead to one of two outcomes. The first one being that I fought the enemy so many times that I was able to predict their moves and kind of adjust to their skill set. In turn, I'd be able to memorize what they would do and then beat them in the end. The second possible outcome is that I accepted defeat and simply backtracked to the hospital to find a seemingly less important citizen to do a side quest for, and then eventually bite into them for a large sum of XP points instantly, leveling myself up to the point where I was able to deal with the boss fight easily. Performance-wise, I don't like getting too far into bugs and glitches as I don't see it relevant to the review unless it's such a large issue that it impacts the game in a major way, and I did not experience that through my first playthrough of Vampyr. I simply wish the game could run at a beautiful 60 frames a second on the Xbox One X, which it did not. However, I was still able to immerse myself in the game and thoroughly enjoy it without any game-breaking bugs or glitches that required a game restart. Overall, I really did enjoy Vampyr as a semi-open world action RPG. A likable character stuck in between his personal needs and dedicating himself to his city puts several tough decisions on the player, and these decisions do feel significant, which makes you want to play the character of Dr. Reid the best you can. A decently deep skill tree and combat system make for enough variations to keep combat interesting until the end. However, I admit that any longer and it may have gotten stale. The story is worth experiencing and the world is worth exploring. On a scale of a game you need to play, a game you should play, and a game you shouldn't play, Vampyr is definitely a game you should play. Thanks for checking out the video, guys, and feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. I will definitely get back to you, and until next time, I'll see you guys.